Hi folks, you're with Tacitus Today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio, radio, no pictures live stream. In this essay, I'd like to, let me just get my glasses on here so I can see them. I'd like to talk about a brother and a sister, and they're people we know, and she turns 25 in another few days, and he's 22. He's finished university. She's still at university. But I want to contrast the two of them. They've been to the same high school and the same university. The parents are, they're pretty well to do. So both kids have had their college fees paid for, and they can live at home with some decent sort of luxury and all the amenities. The parents bought them a car each, and so on. And this is for the, if you like, the upper half of the middle class. This is not an unusual scenario, I suppose, but they couldn't have turned out more differently. And it's hard to believe that they're from the same household or the same parents or the same schools. Now, again, same household, same parents, same schools, same university. So there's no real difference in fact, none. There's no difference in the upbringing, but they've both turned out very, very differently. The girl has completely succumbed to the siren song of radicalism and street activism, placard waving. I'm stunning and brave if I wave placards on behalf of marginalized communities. I'm fighting back against oppression and so on. So she's totally on board with that. The world's going to end because of climate change, the patriarchy, misogyny, evil is everywhere, and she's one hell of a tough chick by fighting back against and every sort of bad, white people are bad, colonialism. There's a rape epidemic. There's a violence against women epidemic. There's a Islamophobic epidemic. These are all things that, as far as she's concerned, are real and happening. And it's hard to believe somebody from a household like that, at least, could be radicalized to this extent. Maybe as a punk ass 19-year-old, she gets a bit of radical moment, as many of us do. But at 25, she's as she's got the mentality of a 15 or 16-year-old. Now, the brother, by contrast, he's quite grown up. He's quite sensible. His behaviour seems quite prudent and reasonable, and he's finished his course. I think he did. He's an accountant or something like that, and so he's got his degree. He's started applying for jobs. He got a job, and he's living very, very prudently and very carefully, and saving his money and looking at the future. And by this age, he wants to sort of buy a house, and by that age, he wants to think about having a family. So, I mean, he's really thinking about the future and what the future holds for him if he works hard, if he's prudent, if he doesn't be careless and silly with his money and so on. Now, he's in a great place because he doesn't have to pay rent, living with his folks, doesn't have to pay rent and this sort of thing. So he's probably going to have, he'll probably be 26 or 27 before he's in a position to put a deposit on even a modest apartment. But he's still thinking about along those lines. And he mentions to me that he needs to get together with a lady, have like a longer term relationship with a woman who is similarly prudent in her outlook in terms of finances and the future. He says it's no good. There's some. He speaks about girls at university, some really hot chicks, but they just want to party all the time, and when they run out of their money, they want to spend his money, and that type of thing. And he wants to steer clear of that. Some quite prudent assessments of the world for someone of that age, and quite sensible. And if he sticks to that, and it all falls into place, and there's a much higher chance it will for him than it will for somebody who's not that prudent, then he should do okay. Now, her is the exact opposite. She's just moved from one sociology bullshit course to the next, and it's gender studies, then it's peace studies, then it's fucking left-wing bullshit studies, and just goes on and on. Now the parents only paid for the first degree that she did, and she's like a professional uni student, and so she's susceptible to and involved in all this, and she's on every committee you can imagine that is fighting back against the oppressors on behalf of the marginalized. So she's into all this sort of shit, and really is. But how are they able to capture her and radicalize her? I mean, how is that even possible, given the household she grew up in? And if it was so easy to radicalize her, why wasn't it that easy to radicalize the boy? Why is the boy responsible and prudent and sensible? Why is she behaving like a silly little girl? And and this sort of thing. And so I wonder about that. How is it possible? And when you look at the people who are the placard waivers of whether it be on behalf of Palestine or on behalf of whatever cause, climate change doesn't matter, how much women and girls are so heavily overrepresented. So you get women and girls, then you get the LGBT community is next, and in numbers, and so you get this incredible overrepresentation. Now she has real problems getting a boyfriend and then keeping them. Her relationships with boys only seem to last a few weeks, and you wonder, well, why is that? And now she insisted it's all the boys' fault. It's the patriarchy. The reason I don't have a relationship with boys or have a boyfriend, patriarchy. Patriarchy is the cause. And then she gets these sort of radical green-haired lesbian types that, I don't think she's a lesbian, this girl, by the way. She gets these radical green-haired lesbian types that she seems to hang around with, and you wonder, well, where would you pick up that? It's obviously amongst the the activist groups and so on. But again, I come back to the central question: how is it so easy to grab hold of and radicalize this girl? Because they just haven't got another placard waiver, a foot soldier placard waiver, and so on. They've got someone who's aggressively and actively destroying their own lives in order to fight back against the patriarchy or the climate. So I mean, what are you fighting back against? What oppression? What's going? The oppression that you say you're fighting isn't the oppression that you need to be worried about. It's the oppression that somehow managed to radicalize you and turn your life into mush, into nothing. So she's now borrowing money to do these bullshit courses. Again, the parents paid for the first degree, but she wants to be a professional uni student. So she's been at university. It's like 4 years since she finished it was a bullshit sociology degree anyway, but since she finished that, and so she's acquiring some pretty serious debt. The only reason she can get these loans is because, she's a girl, but the only reason she get these loans is because she's living rent free, and the parents are subsidizing. She doesn't have to pay for food or lodge, rent or anything. The parents supply the car and maintain that for her. So it's only because she can have that, and yet she insists she's living in an oppressive patriarchy, and her father's paying for everything that she has, and yet it's a patriarchy and misogyny's everywhere. So it's insane stuff, but I'm watching her ruin her life, and given the sense of futility she has about the future, I mean, I imagine her life will be forever miserable, and she'll be forever put upon, as she would see it. And again, two people from the same household, but somehow the radicalization machine grabbed hold of her, captured her, and totally indoctrinated her. And now she engages in nothing but self-destructive behavior, all to push back against oppression, of course. You've been a Tassos today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.